There's no wind today, so I can record some sounds at the beach in the morning. It's sunrise in the middle of a pandemic. Nature's just doing its thing, doesn't care about pandemics. But that beautiful city has to wake up to what some would call a nightmare. Life goes on, as it always has, in more or less the same way. Well, I'm going to go for a short walk just up in the trees here. Haven't been up in this walk ever, even though I'm down at this beach almost every day. About 3 years ago, I decided that I would live a nomadic lifestyle, and I bought a bus. And while I'm walking these stairs, I also realized that this was available to me before I bought the bus. After all, I'm in my own hometown. But I'm walking these stairs during a pandemic, and it's about 15 miles from where I used to live. My income is limited, and back in the day, prior to buying the bus, I did not have the income to both pay rent and own a vehicle. So buying the bus has given me the freedom to visit a spot like this at a time when I would not want to be taking a bus. So it's a good time to go back over some of the things that have changed in my life since I bought my bus and started to live in it. Just grabbing a coffee, going out to the beach. You can see my bus behind me. So the main thing I wanted to talk about, it's sort of an update. I did this at the end of a year, and I think I did it at the end of 2 years. The previous updates are back in my list of videos if you want to go and have a look at them. Each is going to have a slightly different perspective, because as I've spent time in my bus, I've learned more and more about what I appreciate with it. And this pandemic actually kind of brings a lot of it home to me and reminds me not only why I wanted to do it, but where I was in the past. So just relative to the pandemic, and relative to the first thing I noticed that I realize now is that if I had stayed in my tiny little apartment by myself, I would have been isolated in that tiny little apartment 2 months now, and not be able to travel anywhere or go walk really anywhere legitimately. I'd be stuck in this little tiny apartment. Now I can entertain myself quite a bit with YouTube. I hope it's not too windy. It doesn't feel windy, but it may be on the camera. Anyway, I never did watch TV. I would either do some work on the computer, work meaning the things that I'm interested in, learn about things, and maybe do some programming and editing, etc. But I would be stuck alone, literally, absolutely alone for 2 months. What I'm doing now is living in a bus. I park at the beach. Friends that know me come by and talk to me every day. In fact, our little community go around and check on each other every day. Not for any other reason than we all feel a sense of responsibility to each other. And that's not a huge community, just a group of people. We're all nice people and we care about each other. We're not in love with each other. We don't spend all day with each other, but we're aware of each other, and frequently people are coming by to check on me, and I might do exactly the same thing. So I am not alone in this pandemic. I'm actually in a community, and we maintain our distance. We're all respectful of that distance, but we meet and talk, and one of us is sitting in our vehicle, the other one's 6 feet away. So we're very safe, and we're living within the sort of guidelines. But let's go back to 3 years ago. When I first decided to buy my bus, I had one main goal, and that was to travel more, be able to take the bus, head south each winter, and leave Vancouver, leave the cold of this region, and head south to California. And I've spent time in California and Arizona, and I've met a lot of people down there. I now have friends and a sense of community in the areas that I spend most of my time. So buying my bus and starting to travel more, or in fact, I shouldn't say travel more, I could not afford to travel before. I can afford to travel now because my rent goes into gas, etc., and repayment for the bus. So what happened? I came down to this beach to begin with, and I met some people, and right off the bat, it felt way better owning my bus. The first night I slept in it, I was like, wow, this is way better. I have fresh air, it's cool. I can control the heat around me by moving covers on and off and stuff like that, but I don't ever have a day or an evening when it is way too hot for me to sleep in my bus, except when I go to California, and occasionally it's a bit too warm in the evening, but that's for very short periods of time. Even sometimes in Vancouver it's a bit too warm, but it's not uncomfortable. It's absolutely perfect. It's almost like sleeping with the windows open. It's like sleeping on a mat on the grass in the middle of a beautiful field, because you're going to get a little bit of breeze and scents and all that kind of stuff. So scents from flowers and things. So it may be that my life has improved simply because I'm living in my bus, even if my bus didn't go anywhere. But the main advantage is that now I can travel and visit the places that I'd like to visit. But more than that, today I was reminded that there are a lot. When I first bought my bus, just driving around my own city, because I hadn't driven around it for many, many years, it was new and exciting because I was seeing things I'd never seen before. In fact, the Walmart store is so far away, I never went there. I had seen a Walmart for the first time like 3 years ago. Prior to that, I had never seen a Walmart. Not that I'm happy and glad that I now can see them. I'm not impressed with them, but I literally had never been to a Walmart. So I'm going to try and wrap this up real quick. The main things that I got out of living in my van was an enormous amount of freedom. I can just turn the key, drive off to places that I haven't been before or haven't been to for a very long time. I meet an entirely new crowd of people, different ages, different walks of life. Some of them are in houses, and I spend a lot of time talking to them. Some of them are in vans or other kinds of vehicles, and I can spend some time talking to them. But the crazy thing is that I would have had to spend 2 weeks, well, not that, 2 months in my apartment almost without talking to anybody. And because I live in my van, I talk to a number of people every day. So I have an immensely huge and much more expansive social life than I ever had. So I've gained freedom, and I've gained a lot of friends and acquaintances all up and down the coast. And since I've had the bus, I've driven south each year. This is the 3rd time I've gone south, and I've come back north for the summers in Vancouver, and I visit other areas of my province like Kamloops, Kelowna, Vancouver Island, Victoria, and Nanaimo. So I visit a number of cities in my province during the time that I am back in Canada. And therefore I'm traveling almost full time, but not really. I can come to Vancouver and hang out here like I did for 2 months. I have a lot of homes is what it amounts to, because when I go somewhere, I can stay there for quite some time if I feel like it. And usually when I go to Vancouver Island, it's for a month, and I go to the Okanagan in BC for another month or nearly a month. And this year I hope to be able to go to Edmonton and Calgary in Alberta. The reason I want to go there is just sort of extend my experience. Well, let's go back to where I was. I was in a tiny little apartment, and I was like cooped up in more or less a jail cell. Now, I had a choice: a jail cell or absolute freedom. You can make the same choice if you like. If you're looking at this video wondering, wow, some of that stuff would be awesome. Just think about it. It's probably not that hard for you to do this. The biggest issue that I have right now, I'm just going to tell you about the biggest issues. I have a porta potty in my bus. It doesn't have a large container for urine, and it's too short for me to want to like do number 2 in. So I basically have made another makeshift way to have a portable tool for number 2 when I need it. Almost all the time I'm using a public washroom of some sort, even now during the pandemic. And for number 1, I just found an alternative means that to allow me to do that particular chore. Well, how would I put it? In a more convenient sort of package or facility. So, you know, those are probably the 2 biggest issues that people are going to face. The rest of the time you're in a car, you know how to eat, you know how to cook, you know how to do everything. You already know how to do that. And building a van out is no more difficult than going to Home Hardware and putting together furniture, if you like, or going to a store and buying a bureau or a table or whatever it is that you need in your vehicle. And then putting a mattress either on top of those things or beside those things, whatever it might be. But the point of this video for me is to tell you emphatically, my life is hundreds of times better. All I have to do is add up the people. It would be hundreds of times better than it was before. So thumbs up to you guys for watching it. If you've watched it this far, you're very near the end, and at the very end you're going to see a subscribe button up there or something like that, and another video that YouTube would suggest that you visit. Please click the subscribe button. I need you to hammer that subscribe button. Kick it, punch it, punch it, punch it. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, although I'm getting a little lazy at making videos every day.